Here we are at Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, home of the Philadelphia Phillies. I ventured here for the first two games of the series between the Phillies and Red Sox, and on the Friday of this series, in a bit of a coincidence, the 76ers were actually hosting the Celtics in a playoff game just across the sports complex. So I got here before gates opened and prepaid for parking, just to avoid any parking or traffic issues. I can't speak for a football game, but they really do seem to have the parking and traffic patterns working very effectively here, and I didn't face any issue at all while arriving or leaving. The prepaid parking was $25. In these first few shots, you can really get the idea of how close the major sports stadiums are in Philadelphia, with the Eagles, Phillies, and 76ers all sharing the same parking lots. You can also see the live casino and hotel in the distance. I went in the third base gate just because it was close to my seats and where I parked, and there were a good amount of fans waiting to get in. One really nice thing that I'd like to call out is that there was an employee walking around and moving families with small children over to the ADA gate, where fans can also enter with strollers. This was just a small thing that they did that saved a few families a couple of minutes of waiting. That was appreciated. One cool thing about the third base gate is just after entering, there's a huge bar area with televisions and cornhole that people can spend time at waiting for the game to start, or even during the game. As I arrived, batting practice was going on, so I went down to the front of my section to get a closer look. After batting practice finished, I ventured out to Ashburn Alley in the outfield to look for some food. There are a few cheesesteak options, but I settled for Chicky and Pete's, which I had tried on a previous trip at their flagship location. The line tells you how popular they are, and while pricey for ballpark food, it was pretty good. They're mostly famous for their crab fries. One thing I wish could change at MLB games is these days it's very hard to see the home team's batting practice because they go first and gates open later now than they used to. Gates here open 90 minutes before game time, which is better than some stadiums, but Red Sox batting practice was well underway when I got inside, and there was no chance of seeing Phillies batting practice. Game 1 of this series was also the Philadelphia return of superstar Bryce Harper, who had recently returned from his Tommy John surgery in Los Angeles. The crowd gave him a great ovation. This trip was for my second and third games ever at Citizens Bank Park, and I have to say it lived up to how I remember. I've been to Major League games at 13 stadiums now, and this place is definitely in the top tier. The stadium opened in 2004, so we're coming up on the 20-year anniversary, and the stadium currently holds just shy of 43,000 spectators. This was the actual view from my seats for the first game, where I was in section 137, and tickets cost $53 each before fees. One thing about the fan experience here in general is you're going to hear and see some absolutely crazy stuff. Phillies and Red Sox fans were constantly jarring at each other, and at one point I even heard a guy call a woman a bad name, apologize to her, and then come back with 2 beers for her and her friend. I also saw multiple people in the faces of others, either trying to rile them up or respond to them. If you're someone that minds your own business though, you won't have any trouble at all, but some people just can't help themselves. One other weird thing that happened was this was the game where a fan fell into the Red Sox bullpen reaching for a ball during the first inning and had to get removed and brought to a hospital. You never want to see that, and I hope he's doing alright. There was quite a lengthy delay right after the start of the game because of that. What you're seeing here is field preparations on day 2. For this game I was more towards home plate behind the Red Sox dugout in section 128, which cost $90 each before fees. I will say I had a bit of a more relaxing time in this section, and there was a lot less fighting to deal with. The view from this section was also incredible. One other thing I can mention about the stadium is there's a mother's room, which is one reason why I got tickets over in this area. It was never occupied when my wife went over there, and she gave very good reviews. Citizens Bank Park, being a stadium built after the year 2000, definitely offers more room for things like this more than older stadiums. I see that this is pretty standard at newer stadiums now, as well as other features like sensory rooms and things like that. I got a nice surprise with this game and was actually able to see Zach and Julie Ertz throw out the first pitch. If you're a fan of my videos, please be sure to like and subscribe. I also really want to thank all the new subscribers I got in the off season, and I'll be back soon with more minor league stadium reviews, which have been well received on the channel, and videos I truly love creating. With that, I'll leave you with some sights and sounds from Game 2. Thank you.
Center fielder, John Durant. Batting third, number 3, Phillies designated hitter, Bryce. Harper. Batting fourth, number 8, right fielder, Castellanos. Batting fifth, number 5, second baseman, Bryce. Batting sixth, number 10, catcher, J. Rio Muto. Batting seventh, number 28, first baseman, Harper. Batting eighth, number 16, center